Hey, what's going on, everybody? Um, a lot of times when I make videos, I'm trying to talk as fast as possible, and I'm trying to just get all the information out there. When I watch videos, I usually watch 2, 3 minute videos. Anything that's like 8, 9, 10 minutes, I tend to get bored and skip. So I always feel like I have to make a fast video. But a while ago, I did like an in-depth video, like describing one of my zines, and everybody really liked it. So I thought I would do an in-depth review of my casino book. And I've been drinking a little bit of wine. It's like sometimes it speeds me up, but sometimes it slows me down. So my first casino book looks like this. Looks like this on the side. I didn't number the individual pages, but it was like 370 something pages. The new book looks like this. A lot of you watching this video probably already have this book. I mailed a bunch of them out last week. I don't know if I ever posted the picture of my ridiculous monster receipt from I had like it was like $100 tab. This is what it's like when I go to the post office. This is 2 weeks ago when I mailed out all my pre-orders. It was like a $100 tab. Today I had a $90 tab because I went here. This is my receipt from today, but it was not as many packages. This is my postal receipt today, mailing my casino book to various bookstores. But anyway, a lot of you already have this, but I wanted to talk a little bit about it. Same size, same format. They look real good on a shelf together. Isn't that great? I had the same person do my cover design, Frank. From OK Frank OK. I love Frank. I've known Frank forever. We used to work together in Chicago. Frank is awesome. When Frank sent me different sketches for the cover, we went back and forth for a few weeks talking about, well, I like this and I like that, and how about this? And I was like, and Frank liked this cover design, and I wasn't real hot on it at first, but then as we revised it, each new edition added to it. The one thing I love about the cover of the first one is it's because this compiles issues 1 through 8, and on the cover it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I love that it's laid out like blackjack cards. So for this one, I was like, Frank, I want to show that this is issues 9 through 17. So it's very subtle, but on the tops of the chips, you can see the 9, 10, 11, 12, all the way up to 17, and I just think that's really great. This is this is issues 9 through 17. So it has all the issues, and I just scanned in the covers, and it's got every single page of every single zine. It's a lot more work than what you might think, because I had to scan every cover. I had to scan every single page of every single zine. I had to format it to I put it into a program and made it I don't know, basically just turned up the contrast on the black and white. But I had to do that for every single page, and this one's a little bit thicker than the first one. This is 414 pages. But yeah, so roughly 350 of those pages are individual zine pages that I put into a program and bumped up the contrast just so that when it prints, it looks all nice and clean and crisp and looks easier to read. So just like in the first one thing that I did is in between each issue, I put some sort of new material. So even if you have all of the original zines, having the book is kind of special because you get some brand new content, which I really like. So let me see what the first one was. So in between issues 9 and 10, oh yeah, so here's the last page of issue 9. So before I ever worked at a casino, back in 2005, I did a little zine called Vegas Baby, and that's the cover of it. And it was I only made 50 of them probably, but it's just a little tiny zine. But it's just one story about some time when I was 25 and hanging out in Vegas. So I retyped all that text. So instead of a little zine format, it's in a book format, but it's just the text of me gambling in a casino in Vegas. It's really funny to think back to when I used to be 20-something and kind of naive and going to casinos, because casinos are totally different to me now. So then on to issue 10, which I think is a pretty good issue. It's got a lot of continuing stories. I think the majority of the first 8 issues, I think. There's a couple that are one story, but for the most part, it's a lot of really short stories. And issue 10 kind of ties together a lot. They're individual stories, but they all kind of flow together as one kind of long story, which I really like. Issue 10, I remember being very proud of. In between issues 10 and 11, there's a story that's written by my friend Hal. Hal Chan is somebody that I know who also works in a casino, and he's Chinese American, and he tells a story about when he was a kid, like 13 years old or something. He went to an arcade that had slot machines, and his first time gambling, he was like 13 years old and was playing a slot machine and won a bunch of money on some slot machine, and then later lost it all. And he was like, even at a young age, he was like, oh my god, gambling is fucking stupid. So he was telling me that story. I'm like, would you write that story? Some of the like language, it's not like perfect sentence structure because English is his second language, but for the most part I left it because I like the way he talks and I like the way he says things. So issue 11, issue 11 is pretty good. It's also got some kind of continuing stories, and then I put little interludes of how to cheat the casino, where I just talk about the ways that people try to cheat casinos. So different ways of blackjack, capping your bet, past posting, things like that. I give little tips. One thing that's really cool is a friend of mine writes an article for a Japanese magazine, and it's sort of like, I don't know, fun tips and stories about American life. And she interviewed me one time, and it published in a Japanese magazine, and I put that into issue 11, and it turned out really good here, because I had to kind of mess with the contrast and stuff to get it to look good, and I had to make sure that it was on the correct pages so it would still look like a centerfold page layout. But this is like a little excerpt from a Japanese magazine, which is really great. Issue 11 was a pretty good issue. In between issues 11 and 12, I wrote a section called Casino Slang. I really love language. I did a zine called Jargon. I love jargon. I love specialized language. When someone works or lives in a particular area, just words that mean something only to a small group of people. And so I put a bunch of casino slang. So I put some general slang. I put some blackjack slang. I put some poker slang, some craps terms, some blackjack terms. What does double down mean? What's a monkey? Some people don't even know what a blackjack is. It's the name of the game, but a blackjack is when you get an ace along with any card valuing 10. So you get 21 in your very first 2 cards. It's an automatic winner. That's called a blackjack, which I think most people know, but definitely not all people, because if you've never played blackjack, why would you even know what that is? So I thought that was kind of fun. Put some terms in. Last night at the casino, number 12. Number 12 is, I used to collect casino chips from every casino that I went to. And issue 12 was me telling stories about all these. I just kept this as a journal for myself. I would keep track of where every chip came from and what every chip meant and the story behind it. And almost all of these are from before I worked in a casino. So I just thought it was kind of cool to put that out. It's kind of more for me. It was one of the less popular issues, but I like it just to document, because for me these are all specific memories of that time I went to South Point in Las Vegas, that time I went to Sandia in New Mexico, that time I went to Boonville in Missouri. So it's just kind of like fun little memories of that. But once you start working at a casino, you're working with chips every single day, and they kind of like lose their appeal. It's not like a fun little, it's not like a token of this amazing memory. Like, I go to casinos all the time now, so it's not that big of a deal. But it's kind of cool because some of the casinos are no longer around, so it's kind of cool to have a chip from a casino that doesn't exist. Blah 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 blah. In between issues 12 and 13, someone sent me a story, an anonymous story by Gambler Anonymous. This is a story about getting addicted to gambling, and it's a first-hand account of someone who works in a casino who also became addicted to slot machines and was going to the casino would like clock out of work and then go to a casino and gamble, and got into a lot of debt and regretted a lot of it and had to overcome gambling addiction. So, the casino life has been very good to me, but there's definitely issues in the casino world, and addiction is a real thing. And I thought it was very interesting to tell the other side of the story from someone who has struggled with that issue. So just a lot of text and a gambling story. So I worked in New Mexico for a long time, and then I moved to Baltimore, and issue number 13 is about Baltimore. When I first moved to Baltimore, I did not want to work in a casino. I wanted to be done with the casino life, and I worked in a bookstore for a while, and I worked in a retail shop. And I also did casino parties as a side gig, and so issue 13 is all about working casino parties. So if you don't know what a casino party is, let's say you run a big company and it's Christmas and you want to do something nice for your employees. You hire amateur casino dealers to come in. They set up tables, they have fake money, fake chips, and they set up a fake casino. And usually what happens is every single employee will get X number of dollars, $1,000 in fake money, and then you gamble for 2 hours, and at the end of the night, whoever has the most money gets the top prize, free TV, or a pass to an amusement park or whatever. And so it's kind of a way for people who don't normally gamble to have some fun, fake gambling. It doesn't cost anything. They're not going to lose money. So anyway, I dealt a lot of these when I was in Baltimore, and so issue 13 is all about that. And I really love this issue, actually. I think it's a really good issue. Issue 13 I think was really special because it's a totally different side of gambling, because it's not real gambling. So it's more of stories of driving out into the suburbs of Baltimore on a fucking frozen 20-degree day for a Christmas party, and hang out with a bunch of people that don't know how to gamble, and teaching them how to play craps or teaching them how to play blackjack. For people that have never worked in a casino, it's kind of a stressful job. But if you've worked in a casino and then suddenly you're dealing a casino party, there's no surveillance, there's no actual money, no one's mad, it's a party, it's festive, everyone's happy, there's zero stress. The only stress I had was finding the location, and once you're there, because for me, I don't have GPS, and I'm driving to all these, every week I'm driving to a different neighborhood I've never been to, so that was a little bit stressful. But the actual job is so easy. I don't have to worry about some gambler ripping us off. I don't have to worry about a fight. You know what I mean? It's just a party. It's fun. So I don't know. Issue 13 is a very unique issue, and I really like it. And it's almost I don't think there's any pictures. It's just all black and white text. And I love 13. It was one of my favorite issues I did. In between 13 and 14, I wrote a story called A Bet's a Bet. This is a great story. This is a story that happened in New Mexico, and it's about a guy. I should just let you read the story, but he's a Republican, Trump supporter, gambler that is at the casino all the time. And as he's gambling, two of his hippie friends, I don't know why a Republican has hippie friends, but two of his hippie friends come up and start talking politics, and it's one of the funniest conversations. And so I recorded that story, and I hope you guys like it, because I liked it a lot. This is going back to Baltimore. When I was in Baltimore, eventually I did work in a casino, and issues 14 and 15, it was a double issue. I put them out at the same time, and it was all about working at the busy casino in Baltimore. A lot more action, a lot more high dollar, a lot more craziness. I went back to swing shift, so I was working overnights. I'd start at 6 o'clock at night or 8 o'clock at night and work till 4 in the morning. A lot of crazy shit went down, and I really liked the 14 and 15 double issue, were about working in Baltimore at the busy casino. 10 literally 10 times bigger than the casino I worked at in New Mexico. In between 14 and 15, I wrote a story called The Most Complicated Word in the English Language. So in issue 15, in the original issue, I wrote a story that included the N word. So in Baltimore is 60 or 65% black. So most of my customers were black, most of my coworkers were black, African American, And so I would hear the N word every day, every night. And it was mostly customers to each other. Sometimes it was customers to the dealers. Sometimes, people called me the N-word. Sometimes, sometimes as a compliment, sometimes not as a compliment. So in the original zine, I wrote one of those stories, and I wrote out the N-word and spelled out the N-word. And when I got time to put it into a book, I really struggled for months trying to decide whether or not to use the N-word. And I wanted to be respectful of everybody. I wanted to be mature. I wanted to, I wanted to be tactful, but I also wanted to tell a story, and I wanted to document a real conversation that I overheard in a casino. And, a lot of people argue that there should never be censorship. Like, I'm not using the N-word. I'm telling a story about someone else that used the N-word, but I'm a white guy using the N-word. It's very complicated. It's the most complicated word in the English language. So I struggled with it for a long time, and this is about my process of trying to decide whether or not to tell that story, whether or not to use the N-word as a white person. So I think it's a good little story. It's like there's a lot of this casino book is a lot of it doesn't get too heavy. It's just like crazy stories, right? But this is like kind of like heavy political, social, it's like a serious story. But I think it's a good story. So then on to issue 15, which has that story. Issue 15 went along with 14. At the end of 15, in between 15 and 16, so in 15, I tell a story about a player who was like super verbally abusive to me. And my friend Bonus, who's an old street artist friend of mine, we used to hang out back in Chicago, RGB crew, what, stay up, we used to be all over the streets of Chicago. Bonus is an old friend of mine, and he's just like this, he does like the coolest things. So he illustrated a story of mine, and he did it in watercolor, made like a comic of a story of mine, he did that also in the first book. I can't remember what page it's on or where he did it, but he illustrated a story of mine in the first book, and here it is. And he was talking about doing another story, and I was like, if you can get it done in time, I would love to have it in the second book. So I have one in the first book, have one in the second book. So Bonus I love that guy. He's like one of my favorites. So he illustrated as a watercolor story that I told. So super happy to have that. After my time in Baltimore, I came back to New Mexico, and then very soon we had COVID, and I put out issue 16. That's me. It's a self-portrait, me wearing a mask. And I did a short handwritten issue, number 16, which is basically about coming back to New Mexico, and then also talking about COVID and what it's like to work in a casino during COVID, which was weird. And then a short little explanation in between 16 and 17. The last and most recent issue was Last Night at the Casino 17, back in March, which is, this is July, so that was only a few months ago. I went to Spain, and while in Madrid, I went to a casino, and issue 17 was all about what it was like to go gambling in a different country where people are speaking a different language. And I played roulette, and I lost $100, and it was really fun. I had a great time. So that was issue 17, and that's it. Very back page, I have a little advertisement for other books that I'm selling, and that's it. So this one sold for 12, this one sells for 14. A lot of you already have it, but even if you have it, I thought maybe it'd be fun to hear me talk a little bit about it. So that's all. I hope you guys are doing well. This was kind of a long video, but hope you enjoyed it. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.